Australia's vaccine rollout has been far from perfect. Critics say it's been too slow and created confusion and uncertainty. Well, now some bosses are saying no jab, no job. So, what are your rights?
As a business owner, we need the vaccine out there, otherwise the lockdowns will keep happening.
I think it is a race now to get everyone vaccinated. People who don't get vaccinated are putting other people's lives at risk.
I'm encouraging a Team Australia moment with every other corporate out there to help with this vaccine rollout and to reward people that have had the vaccine. The health authorities issue a directive. Employers and employees must follow it. I think for a lot of businesses it makes sense.
For Ben Newman, lockdown 4.0 in Melbourne has hit his business hard.
Prior to lockdown, we were incredibly busy, busier than we've ever been. And then, just like that, it's taken away from us.
Ben runs a bar and hospitality company and wants the right to know who of his staff have been vaccinated.
I think for a lot of businesses it makes sense.
He believes it's a safety issue for his business.
We do a lot of events and a lot of our clients would expect us to be able to tell them which of our staff are vaccinated and which aren't.
But what are the rules? Can employers mandate the jab? And what are workers' rights to refuse?
Protection of the community rather than the individual. So I'm quite firm on it. Yes, I think it should be a personal choice and absolutely, each individual.
It keeps us all safe.
High risk areas, aged care, definitely.
It's not unlawful to mandate it, but mandating it would face some pretty significant problems.
Lawyer Joel Zinger from Gilchrist Connell says in some industries, such as aged care, it may be appropriate to mandate a vaccine, but it would come with hurdles.
It would be very difficult for an employer, even in those industries, to mandate vaccination for staff unless there was a government directive which required mandatory vaccination.
As yet, that hasn't happened, but the Prime Minister today announced it's in the works.
Make no mistake, we are leaning heavily into this as leaders of governments and myself as Prime Minister to see us move towards a mandatory vaccination for aged care workers.
Some states already mandate the flu jab for aged care workers. Now it's likely to be the same for the COVID vaccine.
We have had further advice from the Aged PPC, which means that we have tasked the Aged PPC to advise us how this can safely be done.
Alliance Airlines is believed to be the first Australian company to mandate the jab for its staff.
You'll see more of that, particularly in businesses like Alliance who are doing mainly fly-in, fly-out groups.
Graham Turner is the CEO of Flight Centre. He believes if the government can mandate hotel quarantine, it can and should mandate the vaccine.
The government generally, in the longer term, with different variants coming out, probably won't have any choice but to make it mandatory.
As for his own staff, Mr. Turner says most people at his head office are already vaccinated.
At the moment, we won't mandate it, but I don't think we'll have to.
Isn't it slightly hypocritical that you're asking the government to mandate vaccines when you haven't in your own business?
Yeah, well, it's really up to the government, and I'm encouraging the government to mandate in certain industries.
Qantas hasn't mandated the vaccine for travellers or staff, but did this week announce incentives for customers to get the vaccine come July. That will include flight vouchers, credits, and 10 lucky families will win unlimited travel for 12 months, while Virgin Australia is also expected to announce its incentive program next week. Even if the jab is mandated, people would still potentially have a way out through an exemption process.
Employees don't have to follow employers' directives if it's not a lawful and reasonable direction.
But the process isn't without risk either. A recent case before the Fair Work Commission ruled a childcare centre was right in dismissing a staff member who refused the flu vaccination. The employee couldn't provide a valid exemption.
The employer was found by the Fair Work Commission to have a fair and rigorous process for
assessing, examining and approving or disapproving employee exemptions, and the employee, unfortunately for them, couldn't provide any evidence.
For vaccinations to be made mandatory for aged care workers, that has to be done by public health orders at a state level.
But the sooner everyone is vaccinated, the sooner life could return to normal. When are you hopeful that the world and travel will return to normal?
We're looking at getting back to our pre-COVID sales levels by the month of June 24, so that's 3 years' time.
Get the jab as quick as possible. Let's get out of this perpetual lockdown so that everyone can have some security in their business.
As it stands, the federal government doesn't know how many workers in aged care have had a COVID jab, but today it announced all aged care facilities will have to report worker vaccinations from June 15.
All right, Shalom Alaikum. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakha Kodash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I'd like to see Shalom to the elect to teach the word in all true faith and sincerity. Today I just want to tie this lesson, or else. And as you can see, as each day go by, this man, his agenda is being revealed. It's being made manifest that this nigga is the devil, the so-called white man, and he got an agenda to fulfill, man. And it's pretty much compromising your livelihood. As you can see that the video we just played pretty much said no jab, no job. So you can't live without that jab. You can't continue in this society without that thing, man. Which ultimately is a precursor to the MOB, the chip, man. But as you can see, this is a global agenda, man. Even though they over there in the UK, or you might see somebody in China or Korea or something like that. To show you that they all in unison, all the motherfuckers speaking English. Or if it's not that, let's just say they do speak another language. They wearing a 3-piece suit, man. So to let you know, this thing is going to come upon all the world. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. In the book of Revelations. Revelation chapter 3. Revelations 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. See? And that lets you know how critical having this word is. This is actually the bridge to our salvation, the bridge to us being kept from the said perils, being preserved despite all the outside elements. It's going to be the word is the key to all that. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. See, so this is going to come upon the whole planet Earth. The whole earth is going to be affected by it, which is that why it's that this is a global pandemic. That thing actually has reached from China to America, all the way up in Europe to Australia. This thing is everywhere. That lets you know this our temptation is not, man. Which ultimately is going to be when that chip come forth, man. Because that's going to be that's pretty much the last step in this man, his agenda is to chip everybody, man. That's Satan device, and you see things lean up to it. You got to compromise now yourself. You got to get the jab so you can continue to abide in this society, man. So it's or do this or else. Do this. Matter of fact, let's get that in Revelation 13 chapter. Because that's what it leans to, See, this is going to be the ultimate ultimatum, man. When an MOB get implemented, once that become mandatory. Because you hear talks about that jab, Mike Tyson jab being mandatory. But this man is ultimately you're going to really pledge your allegiance, to the devil when you take that chip, man. And if you don't, yeah, I mean, that's where the or else come in, because now you're going to be out. You're going to get off the grid. You know, you're going to lose a job, your status. You know, they're going to try to rub you out of the society, and ultimately it's going to get to the point they actually going to try to kill you, man. You know. So this is the book of Revelations 13, and I get to the point, verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, which is talking about this pretty much that ancient Roman system. You know, they're going by the same laws and legislations, that same structure, governmental structure. It's the same thing back in Rome, man. You know, and it says, and cause that as would not, it's like, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And what's that? You worshiping the image of the beast? Pretty much help forward in this society, being a part of it. You know, of course you got to work and pay bills and this and that. But when you take those necessary steps, you know what I mean? Those extra steps by you standing in line for a jab, you standing in line for the chip. You okay with this place continuing? You need America to continue, and you worshiping is actually going to lead to you taking that chip. You know, and that's why you got that FEMA kill list. That ain't just death for none. You know, you got the yellow list. Those are ones that actually that's pretty much concede. They don't know. They don't want to know what's going on. They just going with the flow. You know, a lot of them already took the jab. A lot of them going to take the chip. Those are the ones on the yellow list, man. You know, you got the blue list, the ones they believe they're going to rehabilitate. You know, some the ones that they can think and they feel like they can rehabilitate them. But then you got the red list where they just ultimately just say, you know what, let's just kill them, man. Because ain't no way that they will conform to this word. They will, you know what I mean? Be okay with this. Oh, that's why the scripture says, we are not for his turn. And that's why ultimately when you read on in that Council of Wisdom side in the second chapter, he just said, let's just kill him. Let's prove his words and let's kill him and see if the Lord will deliver him, man. You know? So let's go back Revelation 13 and 16. It says, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. See? So it says he calls of all. And when you go into that word calls, it pretty much means ordain, to order, constitute. So this is actually going to be in law. These things are actually going to be implemented, and it's going to be law that you got to do this. You got to bow down to the image. You know, you got to pretty much for you to go into these established businesses, you know, for you to continue to have a job, for you to continue to even pay a bill, or whatever the case may be, you got to have that thing, the chip, you know, the MOB, man. Which, like I said, the prelude to this, you seeing the jab, you seeing this is the test run, like who is willingly is going to bow down, and it's going to get to the point where this devil's going to this man, he's going to crunch down, and it's going to get harder and harder. It's going to get straighter and straighter. That's why that time is coined as the time hour of temptation, man. When you're going to be in a state of dire needs. Matter of fact, let's get something real quick. Because that's going back. That's the ultimate ultimatum. Yahweh Shema Shai. You know, tell you he set before you life and death. But that's going to ultimately play out, you know, when that chip is on display, man. You know, so let's get this in the book of St. Matthew 10 and verse 10 and verse 39. It says, he that findeth his life shall lose it. And he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. See? So you finding your life, meaning what? It's going to get to a point in time where, you know, you're going to be in straits, man. And you finding your life, trying to find your life, or attempt to save your life or preserve yourself by going to the so-called white man and bowing down to the image, taking the chip, taking the mark. You know, you're going to end up dying. You ultimately that's you literally gonna be marked for death then. That's gonna be an actual literal saying, marked for death. You know, when a lot of people get this chip, man. You know, but it said, he who that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. So that's pretty much you. When you lose your life, you lose your status. You get off the grid. You know, it's ultimately that we're going to be faithful unto death, where you actually be faced with death. But it's a build up to it. But departing from this man, not bowing down to this image, not worshiping, you know, the image of the beast, abiding on what this man puts forth. Because it's gonna get hard, you know. It ain't like it's gonna be a walk of the park. It's called Jacob's trouble for nothing. The Lord called it that. The Lord called it the hour of temptation. So you know it's gonna be a hell of a time period. But that's when that standard is gonna be lifted, and we gotta believe that. That's why I said, for my sake, we're gonna find light then. You know, we're gonna be preserved. You know, both for the ones who gonna bow down to this, they're gonna die, man. At the end of the day, you know. So let's get this. Just going back to the title of the lesson, or else, because when this thing be presented, it's not like you can cut corners, and you know, once this thing become mandatory, which is ultimately that chip, the jab was just a test run. When that chip become mandatory, it's gonna get real then, man. Yeah, I mean, so this is the book of Daniel 3, Daniel chapter 3, and I start at 1. It said, Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. So as you can see, you know, everybody that was part of this government was all in on it. Everybody that was in the provinces that was under the banner, under the shadow of Nebuchadnezzar, they was all in on it. They came to the dedication of the image. And that's why you see prime ministers and different presidents, and you know what I mean, on one accord, talking about we need to make this thing mandatory. You know, we need to, you know what I mean, dealing with these smart cities, you know, being part of the IoT, the Internet of Things, you know, pushing these certain agendas, the alphabet, those bundles of sticks, they all on one accord. They speaking the same thing in wickedness. It's all towards the dedication of the image. You know, they forward in that image. So that's what you see in this, you know, back then, but it's playing out on a global scale in this time. See, there was just a region back then that was all in on. This is now playing out on a global scale. You know, it says, then the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. See, and that's what you did. That would you seeing now. These nations, they stood before the image, man. Meaning what? They pretty much you know, till they laid it, they committed fornication with this whore. You know, they sold out to this devil, man. You know, because these other nations, they compromise their that culture and all that. That's why I said, let's just say, you know, let you know that they all on one accord. They all speaking English, and let's just say if they don't, they all got a 3-piece suit on, man. So they all on one accord. They standing before, which I think that's the word prostitute. I believe that's what it goes into, to stand before, man. So that's what happened back then, and that's what you see now. You know what I mean? It says, then, and Harold cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages. And guess what? That Harold for this devil is his media. You know, the news. It's gonna be made known that this is a commandment, that this is a decree, this is in law. When you turn on Fox News or CNN, or you get a notification on your phone, that's like a herald crying out and commanding you. It says, "Oh, people, nations, and languages." See, so everybody's going to be affected by this, man. One way, form, or fashion. You know? It says that at the time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. See, do this, and whoso follow not down and worshipeth and whoso follow not down and worshipeth, see, shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. So, or else, bow down, or else, man, you're gonna die. And the method back then was the fiery furnace. Well, in this time, you got guillotines, you got summary execution. You know, they got all these different methods to put you to death, man. For you, because you went against the commandment of that decree. You know, do this or else. And you seeing it start now by you not being allowed in certain things, you being cut off from certain things. You can't have a job now till you show proof you got jailed all the way out. You know, and it's only going to intensify as we get closer and closer to that perfect day. See, the devil, the agenda of the devil is going to be revealed. Matter of fact, let's get something real quick, because this man he present as that he's beneficial. You know, that lamb. You know, he's so-called coming in the name of health. You know what I mean? But he really want to kill you. That's how bad he love you so much. He want to kill you, man. That's a nigga for you. This is Ecclesiastes, Sirach 14:7. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. See? Because it's not because it's out of the kindness of his heart. Like he said, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and natives can go in front of the line. You can go first by taking a jab. That wasn't because it was out of the kindness of his heart. There's a sinister plan behind it. That's why it says, and at the last, he will declare his wickedness. See, so at the end of the day, it's going to be made known that this man is the devil, that he is your enemy. And what he's going to do, everything, he's going to scratch tooth and nail to accomplish his agenda. That's even coming down to the point where it's going to be put in law. And if you don't do it, he going to kill you, man. You know? But this man, he getting a lot of resistance as well. See, that's why you know this man is not going to accomplish, you know, he's not going to crown his enterprise a success, man. Because he's getting a lot of resistance, which is Edomites that's really bucking up against this, man. I believe it was in Kentucky or Texas or one of them. It was a plethora of workers that pretty much got suspended because they refused to take the jab, man. Was that just not just going on right there? It's going on throughout Babylon, man, as well as all over the world. You know. So that's why that the draconian laws is gonna. Hey, you're gonna hear this nigga roar, man. Till ultimately you see the teeth, which is the military. You know, that's there or else. So is this going back Daniel 3 in verse matter of fact, I continue on this. It says in Daniel 3 and verse 6, verse 7, it's like it. Therefore, at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. See, so you're going to see Moabites with the chip. You're going to see Elamites with the chip. You know, Ishmaelites. You're going to see these people bowing down to this system, and ultimately they're going to pledge their allegiance when they do that, man. You know, but you're going to have resistance as well. It says, wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, shall fall down and worship the golden image. And that's, and you know, those sounds, that music, that's them enchantments, man. You know, them enchantments, and that's been played out through this man, his media, his rhetoric, even the trends that he set forth. That's all, those are enchantments, man. You know, for you to, you know, they groom you to bow down to the image. You grew up watching SpongeBob and shit, you know, so it's easy you to be assimilated into the system, man. You know, it says, but when you have one that resists, that's not going with the flow, that damages this man, because it's a thinker now. You know, he don't like thinkers. He don't like resistors. He like people to bow down, to just go with the flow. Not, you know, that's why you got the red, blue, and the yellow list. Now ain't just, and also the black list. You know, but it says Slakia. And whoso follow not down and worship him, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. It said, there are certain Jews who thou hast set over the affairs of province of Babylon. It says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. See, so that's going to happen once again. And this man, his fury, you know, because the prophets is that barrier, you know, is that roadblock in the way of this man and accomplishing his agenda, man. You know, so that's why it tells this man's going to come down with great wrath. You know, because of the ones that got the testimony of Yahushua. Those who this man really going to ultimately make war against. Yeah, you're going to have Jakes, just 2/3 of our people get laid down, mowed down, different ways, form, and fashion. A lot of our people going to be thrown in concentration camps. But who he really want? Who them super soldiers and them sentinels and all these things are going to be geared towards? The ones of the upright conversation, man. Those who this man is really pointing that bow and arrow towards. That's why it's a thing that been going on about conspiracy theories and misinformation. It's that info war, you know, because he understand that if you can lie, you know what I mean? He was able to run circles around his people. He ain't really had to put too much effort into it. But now that formula has been broken. Truth has set upon the planet Earth. And that what contributed to this man and his rage and his fury. You know, it says, Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do ye not serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now, if you be ready, that at what time, and we're also going to be brought in front of kings and governors, and you might be in the same row with Bill Gates, Elon Musk or something, or just anybody they got power that's overseeing certain things, governmental affairs. You actually gonna be in a room with a high-ranking official, man. You know, and then you gonna know that's how serious this is. All go back to this word, this message. You know, and it shows how damaging it is to this man and his kingdom. That was the formula. That was the recipe to overthrow the so-called white man. Truth. The truth of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You know, and it's gonna be made manifest when this man gather us, you know, and bring us into interrogation rooms or whatever, these different torture chambers, you know, that's what's about to take place now. It says, now if you be ready, at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image that which I made. Well, see, you'll do well if you do that. But see, or if you worship not, you should be cast into the same cast the same hour into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And who is that power that shall deliver you out of my hands? See, so do this or else. But as you can see, what Nebuchadnezzar said at the end. And who was that power that should deliver you out of my hands? So it's going to be a standard that's going to be lifted, man. See, the so-called white man is not powerful as these people think, man. He's actually being controlled by Yahweh Shemel. You know, this actually the Lord, he's really implemented chip, but he's doing it through Esau. The Lord's actually mandating these things and actually making these things take place, but he's doing it through Esau. But when it's time for the Lord's elect to be delivered out of these things, it's going to be a standard lifted, man. No matter how bleak it look. Look what happened in Egypt. It seemed like it was a dead end. We was pretty much at the Gulf. You know, then you had the Egyptians hawking us down, you know, but the Lord made it dramatic where it took all night. Why is that? So it can be even more dramatic so the Egyptians can catch up. But it took all night for the waters to split, man. It could have happened instantly, but it was dramatic. It was the standard was lifted though, man. You know, we escaped. And then it was set up for us when we did go on the other side of the land, we were able to turn around and see the judgment of the Egyptians, man. You know? But Yahweh Shemel gonna live up at this standard, man. No matter what takes place. Oh, that was just going back to Revelation 3. The Lord said he's gonna keep us from the hour of temptation. Just because we kept the word of his patience, we abided in his truth. Now the Lord is gonna reward us by the way of delivering us, having mercy upon us during these things, man. When it take place, you know. And all right, it says Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. He will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. See? So you're not compromising, you know. You're going to stand still for the name of Yahweh Shemel Shai. And we're going to be cussing out these governors, these high-ranking officials. We're going to cuss them out, man. The Lord tells you going to turn. When we do get caught up and brought to these kings, it's going to be a testimony against them, man. You know. So we're going to be cussing them niggas out, man. You know, the ones that's you know, in power. It says, bear with me. It said, then Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed. See, meaning what? The countenance changed, man. And that's what the time we're coming into this, man. His countenance about to change, man. And that's the point I was gonna get, y'all. The form of his visage was changed, so his countenance changed, man. You know, he was probably just that stern look. Then it got to the point that, I mean, he was heated, man. And that's what you're about to see. The so-called white man, his anger is about to flare up. You know, it tells that when the righteous fled from his brother's wrath. That's another attribute, a characteristic of the so-called white man, Esau or Cain. It was wrath. It was full of hatred and envy and wrath. It tells you the dragon was wroth with the woman, man. You know. So that's what you're seeing now. Their countenance is finna change. So, matter of fact, let's see. I'm gonna finish off with this. It says, it said, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it want to be heated. See, so to let you know that this man, the so-called white man, when he comes after the prophets, the hopeful elect, the one that had a testimony of Yahweh Shai, he's going to come at them, you know, with a whole different manner, at a whole different manner. See, he's not just going to send 17:6 just to the prophets, man. You know, like it just said, Nebuchadnezzar, he wanted the furnace 7 times more hotter, man. So you don't think this man's going to bring some real heat to the prophets, man? See, he can get them niggas in the projects with a few MRAPs, you know, a few Coast Guard troops or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? But this man is going to actually have lab grown soldiers, whatever the case may be, to come out to the prophets, man. You know, the ones that had the testimony of how was shot, man. He gonna take it though, you know. But the point is this man is he's about to show himself at the end of the day. You know, he's about to show himself. And if you don't bow down to this image, it's gonna be it's gonna be repercussions, how he put it. But we understand that there's gonna be a standard lifted, man. You know, so I'm gonna finish out. I'm gonna end off on this. This is the book of Sirach 12 and verse 16. It says, "An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagine of how to throw thee into a pit." Yeah, so this man, he's coming in the name of health. He want to get back to normal. He want to make sure your life is as comfortable as possible. You know, but in his heart, you know, that's the fork-tongued devil. He's conjuring up some to keep you in further derision, to keep you down and docile and dumb, you know, for you to continue to be a slave. It says he will weep with his eyes, but if he found opportunity, which this that time, he will not be satisfied with blood. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. Why? Because he's the one that brought the adversity. Now he's right there, so because you asked for a solution now. He got the solution. But it's a but in the cause, like it's a clause in the contract. Yeah, I do this, but you gotta, you know, he caused it, but he's there first to present the solution, man. Which that solution in this time that he's gonna present to these people is the chip, the MOB, man. You know, that's gonna be the form of relief that he's gonna present. That what we just read in St. Matthew 10. Whosoever will try to save his life, you're gonna try to save your life by standing in chip line so you can eat rations. You know, but what the scripture said, the Lord said he's gonna feed us. We're gonna laugh during the famine. It tells we're gonna actually be satisfied in it. So you mean what? You're gonna actually be full during a famine. You might have leftovers and shit. That's that standard being lifted, man. That's the reward of trusting in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You know? But this man, what he's going to present is his form of relief is you eating rations. You somehow you will survive another day in America. You know? It says, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee, yet he shall undermine thee. See, so you thinking you getting help, but you actually in a worse condition that you was in before. That's why the scripture says, it tells you in Proverbs 7, don't decline to her ways. You really downgrade when you trust in the so-called white man. It says he will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much, meaning those secret counsels, and change his countenance. See, so you think the so-called white man is for you and cool, but just wait till that thing come on. You know what I mean? It's gonna be over with then. It's gonna be do this or else I'm gonna kill you, pretty much. But that's when that standard is gonna be lifted. So yeah, I just hold it with edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Like to see Shalom to the elect that teach the word and true faith and sincerity. DTA, abide by ball. Soon, very soon, very soon.